Do you buy vinyl?
Hi, I'm James Toth of Wood and Wand at Amoeba, and this is what's in my bag. I'll just pick them out at random. This is the first Chrome LP. I've been into Chrome for at least 10 or 15 years, but I always knew like the records that everybody kind of likes, and then someone played this for me recently and was like, oh, it's their first record. It's not kind of like they hadn't figured it out yet. I think only Damon Edge is on it. I don't think Helios Creed had joined yet, but it has this kind of trash rock, almost like parts of it sound almost like real trucksy or something. And it's just totally different from their sort of electronic punk weird thing that people know them for. It's way more straight, but only relatively speaking. And I really loved it, so I'm glad I found that. This is my favorite Bert Jansch record. A friend of mine was involved in releasing this, actually. It's all instrumental, and I liked Bert Jansch's singing, but the first side is like a side-long kind of jam, but side two is beautiful little vignettes. It's shorter tunes, and they have like upright bass, so they have this weird, you know, postmodern jazz sensibility, but they're still very much in the English folk tradition. I just love this record so much. It's one of my favorites, so I'm glad I found it. This is Gaussian Curves, The Distance. I like their last record quite a bit. I guess it's vaguely new age, Balearic, whatever they're calling it now, but Gigi Mason is an Italian sound artist and composer, and he's working with these two younger guys who I'm not as familiar with. But it's really placid, but not boring, not wallpaper at all. Very good, deep listening for headphones and stuff, and I dig their vibe. This record came out on Cranky, and I check out a lot of the stuff on Cranky because it's a label I've liked since I was in college. I try to keep up with them, but this record in particular, this person, Justin Walter, is unknown to me. I know he did one other record. And on this record, Unseen Forces, he uses this weird electronic trumpet thing that I'm not quite sure what it's called. Some of my more musically inclined friends would be like, you know what that is, but I don't remember right now. But it has almost like a cool sort of ECM vibe to some of it, but it's very much in that Cranky tradition where there's clearly a lot of Eno and just really great textures, really well thought out, and really beautiful music. I'm really psyched about that one. These people probably don't need any introduction to anybody watching this. This was originally a private press record, I guess right before John died. John Coltrane and Alice Coltrane's Cosmic Music. I believe it was on Coltrane Records, but a friend of mine just told me that Superior Viaduct reissued this recently. I've never heard it, but this label's really great. You could just go broke just buying everything they reissue, like everything from The Fall to stuff like this. It's just a really, really solid label, so pretty psyched to jam that. I really like CDs. I think CDs are like the records of now, you know, you get them for pennies on the dollar. It used to be you could outsmart clerks, so if you found a place in the middle of nowhere and you're like, oh, how much is this incredible string band record? $2. And now it's like, well, let's see what Discogs says. And I find now that CDs have become that, and they're not hip at all, and they're ugly, and they're plastic, and everybody's downsizing, but you can find some amazing things. And when I was buying CDs growing up, they were like $18.99, sometimes even like $21.99. So now when I see those same CDs for 50 cents, I'm like, can you pass that up, you know? I got this, the name of this band is Talking Heads Reissue. It's a 2-disc thing. Honestly, they've never been like a huge, except for Remain in Light, they've never been like a huge band for me, but a friend of mine was saying that this reissue in particular sounded really good, and he's into a lot of great like Afrobeat stuff, and he knows guitar, and he was saying that the guitar stuff on here surprised me. But yeah, I'm psyched to jam that on the road. This is the first Tangerine Dream record. and I just heard this. My friend Brian Cook was playing this while I was staying at his house. It's their first record, so it has that Berlin School kind of, you know, modular synth sound, which honestly I'm less into than the more deep ambient drone stuff, and some of the more twinkly, tinkly stuff from later. But it sounded so good at his house, and I found this used, so still got a lot of driving to do on this trip, so that'll be perfect. Turn 60 West into the Autobahn, you know. This is the Fabulous Fats Navarro, volumes 1 and 2. I've actually had this on my watch list for a while. I heard The Chase on the radio, on college radios, an alternate take of The Chase, a song on here, and I was just blown away. And honestly, my jazz education begins at bebop, just before bebop. And this is from like 48, I believe. So it's kind of early for me. I don't usually jam stuff this early, mostly because of fidelity issues and mostly just because of like blind spots. But Tad Dameron plays piano on this, and as a trumpet player, it's just really incredible. Not what you call minimal, you know, really just beautiful music. So also good stuff for the car. I'll probably take some guff for this, but I have a lot of arguments with my guitar soli friends about Windham Hill, and the early Windham Hill in particular, because I think William Ackerman and Alex DeGrassi and those guys have made some incredible guitar records. Just, you know, in some ways every bit the equal, obviously very different, but every bit the equal of Robbie Basho and Fahey's early records or mid-period records. And you can get them for $2, $3. I mean, this double CD here, the first 10 years, which is kind of my wheelhouse, it's $5. This is one of the greatest blues records ever made, and Buddy Guy is on here. He was originally credited as like friendly chap because there were some contractual things. So Buddy Guy on guitar, Junior Wells, they kind of just put these guys together. I don't think anybody really knew how explosive and how amazing this was going to be, but there's a bunch of studio chatter and stuff that I've never heard on here, so we'll be jamming some studio chatter on the road. I listen to Junior Wells studio chatter, it sounds great.
I buzzed your bell this morning, baby, had your elevator running slow. I buzzed your bell, girl, take me up on a third floor, but I hold on my hand. Lord, I'm trying to make you understand.
And finally, I was looking and trying to see if there was any Grateful Dead. This is the only thing that I don't have that you have. It's from New Year's Eve 1990. I think 1990 was probably the last truly great year for the Dead. Some people don't go as late as 90, and I totally understand that, but I do celebrate the catalog, celebrate the entire discography, and this one in particular has Branford Marsalis on it. Those shows with Branford were just incredible, so psyched. Thank you, Amoeba. Yeah, thank you guys.